All right, welcome back to End of the Double Dragon podcast. It's your boy, Shane Greenwood here in Double Dragon Gym, Sutherland Shire. And with me, I have Trenton Lawrence.
Hello.
Hugh O'Donnell.
Hey.
How are we, fellas?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Ready to get this place open.
Yes.
Saturday.
Let's go.
Yeah. Recording this on the Thursday night, so Saturday is when the gyms would let the train back inside the gyms. Just recently also said you can have 20 person per class. I'm just going to run 5 classes. Fuck it.
We're back.
Yeah. We're back. I asked them for some Jiu Jitsu mats, and they just ended up doing the whole gym for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're good to you already.
No, you have to come and see it. That's, From there. All right, but this is episode 122, and we have a guest with us today. So from there, just doing a little quick run for him, a man that's done a little bit of everything. All right, so from here he's had 15 pro MMA fights, 3 boxing fights, 24 Muay Thai fights. He's also an Australian pro. He holds an Australian pro mixed martial arts title. He competed in the WMO games where he has got a bronze, a silver, and a gold. He's also the owner of one of the most successful New South Wales gyms going around in Muay Thai, and also MMA is too. And it's Mr. Rod Staader. How are you today, sir?
How are we?
Going good, mate. Thanks for jumping on as well, mate. Really appreciate you.
Oh, mate, I'm honoured to get asked. Love it.
Oh, mate, yeah. It's I think we've known each other for a while, just around the traps from there. So I think it's the stuff that you've done before from there. You have some really great stuff to tell the people. So yeah, let's get into it from there. So the first one we always ask everyone once they're on the podcast is the background. So what got you into martial arts to begin with, and how what style did you begin with?
Karate Kid.
Yeah.
That generation. So I was living in Cranbourne in Victoria at the time, and I think I was an energetic little fellow, so the parents got me down to the local karate place, which I'm pretty sure it was Zendu Kai. I honestly, I was only about 9 years old, but it was in the day, the boom times, and that hall would have had 100 people in it, for the class, and they had all the ranks lined up, different uniforms at the front. It was huge. So the head instructor, I think his name was Bill Campbell, and they did a demo at our local school Fate, and this guy, he just got me. He was breaking all the boards, but what was funny was that his last board he broke. He was spinning around breaking all these boards, and the last board he headbutted, and I was
Love that.
You've got, that was my introduction. But I think I only did it for maybe 12 months. I got the karate taken off me as a punishment. So that was that for a little while. And then from there on, it's a bit of re-taekwondo when I was a teenager. Yeah. So that's where it began, though.
Yeah, it's back in that day, especially taekwondo schools and karate schools almost every corner of every state and suburb in Australia back then.
Yeah, yeah, that's mostly what was around.
So from those origins in the Zendu-Kai and Taekwondo as a young fella, how did you find your way into Thai boxing, and who was your trainer in that?
Yeah, so bit of a progression, because I went back to, so I started everything when I was a bit older. I had those tastes of it, and I went back to Taekwondo when my first 2 oldest boys were 4 and 6. So I sort of went for them, and then I trained with them, and I thought, I'm going to get me black belt this time. I'm going to stick it out. So we did that, but the club didn't compete, and I was starting to catch my eye with the competitions in Blitz magazine. So I went to a karate school that did the competitions and started with that. But where that went from there was you're doing point karate and semi-contact continuous sparring, but then one competition they had like ring karate, and then you're like, like really asking the question of yourself, like, I wonder if I could do that. So, next time that come around, I'm into the ring karate, and then they had a really big, competition for the year, or the one they have every 4 years, and they have a kickboxing show on the Saturday night, and we're watching the kickboxing, and you're like, it's like another step, because you realise what you're doing isn't as hardcore as that, and questioning yourself if you've got what it takes to have a crack at that. So we lead from there, and I tried a bit of kickboxing in Newcastle with Rob Murdoch Senior. I never got to the stage where I fought, but I did get a bit of a wake-up call as to, like, wrap your hands, go grab the skipping rope. I'm like, what? Like, go and skip, So here's a old hardcore guy with lots of champions that he took no shit. He was just like, grab the skipping rope, one special, which was good, And anyway, family reasons, we moved to Queensland, up to Logan, and I got through Blitz magazine again. Got Scotty Bannon, who's a current world champion Thai boxer. Got his number out of Blitz magazine. I started training with those guys when I first moved there. Trained with them for about 9 months, and they took me down to the Tamworth Tough Man. And man, I tell you what, that was a baptism of fire and a real eye opener, because first time using boxing. It was kickboxing rules, but first time using boxing. And I fought this guy, probably 10 kilos heavier than me. And at the weigh-in, the guy said to me, thanks for taking the fight. I'm having my retirement fight. And I'm like,
Nice.
There's no way out of this now. I had to do it, I couldn't be seen to be like, I'm a bit sick. So I went through with the fight, and it was just a wild introduction. The Tamworth Tough Man, very funny, because it was in a hall, it was on mats, ACDC playing while we fought.
Nice.
Not in between while we were fighting. I remember getting punched off the mats, and the crowd tossed me back in like a Western, right back into another right hand, and got sat down. It was just wild. Anyway, I think I got dropped maybe 8 times during the whole 3 rounds, and survived. I was very sick after it, and I remember the coach saying to me the next morning, he's like, and I knew it wasn't a good fight, but he said, "Good fight, mate. Welcome to the world of kickboxing." And I was just like, wow. But to get to the main people I trained with Muay Thai, and really where I found my home was Iron Fist Gym, under Daniel Bell and his dad Alan Bell, and God rest his soul. Alan Bell just passed away. Big player in the Queensland MTA, and just a great man. So I settled in with those guys and had about 10 fights there. So that's where the Muay Thai really kicked off.
So yeah, when you did fight, after the Tough Man, of course, from there, did your style change much, or you just got better over time because you just spend more time doing it? Once that happened, I sort of got determined, and the Bells were just old school. It was you trained hard. Dan's lineage was from Blood Axe, so he came from under Malcolm Anderson, who was really well known in the early days in Queensland. And so it was just run, skip, shadow box,
you went to the gym to train hard, no nonsense, and the old man Al, he would see right through you. You know, like if you're, you know, not pulling your weight, you know, he just knew what was going on. So that's where things got serious. I really started to train hard and wanted to, you know, get one of those nice shiny belts.
Yeah, definitely. From there.
When did you get into Jiu Jitsu, and who was your trainer? When did you see the light and realize?
So it been like maybe 4 years later, we moved back down to New South Wales, and I had about a year off because we just had a third child in my first marriage, and I had about a year off. Didn't do anything. I had a bag at home, had a few mates around, and just mucking around. But you know, I think at that point I'd come off, like I got a chance to fight for the Queensland title and failed, and I was maybe like, oh well, I've tried, you know, and not sure if I was going to do it anymore. But I was still out there kicking the bag, so you know, the hunger come back. So I actually went back to Rob Murdoch Senior, and he was sharing a gym with a jiu-jitsu coach, Jamie Ballard, and they were running a couple of MMA fighters. So that got my eye then. I mean, I'd seen it, you know, the early UFC and that, and you dabbled in it a little bit, but really hooked into the Thai boxing. So, yeah, I think after about a year, having a couple more Thai boxing fights, finally I took my sons again. I took my two older sons to try jiu-jitsu out with Jamie, and of course participated myself. And man, once the wrestling started, I was like, "Oh fuck, this is really cool too."
Yeah, it's
just physical.
Yeah, is that what fed into MMA for you? Starting the jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, and I think it was starting the jiu-jitsu, plus then, you know, like being around the MMA fighters and thinking, oh, you know, I might have a crack at that. But geez, the jiu-jitsu guys had heaps of fun with me. I think I got a bit of extra treatment because they're like, you know, kickboxer, and just got towed for I don't know how long, 12 months, you know.
Yeah.
They're stuck.
What was your preference when you were competing in MMA? Was it striking or grappling?
I still wanted to always strike. I still wanted to always go out there and do my striking. But I found naturally, like the way we were training and the physicality of the jiu-jitsu now, like when you come together, like with somebody, then just instinct takes over, and you're like doing a takedown and then you're on the ground. So it's just like, you know, you're staying down there if you're on top, basically. So preference was to strike, but quite a lot those fights end up on the ground. So yeah.
Sure.
Do you always like doing jiu-jitsu? Do you have like a go-to submission that you like doing? Like my one, I just like choking people, rear naked choke, guillotine choke.
Yeah, most guys, you get like certain submissions that just click, and then you know if you're getting it like all the time in class, it's sort of what happens when you fight. So yeah, I used to I won about 3 of my MMA fights with head arm choke, and I used to love that submission, head arm triangle.
I always find it hard to do. I just never kind of like found a way to get it on for myself.
Your biceps big.
Yeah, that's big, strong arms. Yeah, fair enough.
Was that your foundation? Did you base your whole game around the head arm choke?
No, it was like I find myself in that position, and guys, like if they reacted the wrong way, it was like it's just there. You just see it. You know, the go-to submission. So you just see it from everywhere, I think, once you really hone in on one submission, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So off of your kind of fighting career, like did it move sort of linearly as far as like, did you mix the styles you were fighting in? Like there'd be a couple of MMA fights and then you'd sort of go back to Thai. Did they move in blocks?
I just really like everything about Muay Thai. Like I just want to elbow somebody, I want to knee them. You know, I want to kick their leg. You know, it's those Muay Thai moves that really just always want to do. But I always held on to like a spinning back kick and a spinning heel kick from the early days. So, you know, I think even in Thai boxing, it's good to have a little hidden secret there.
Yeah.
Just to throw out, you know, catch guys off guard.
But once you had moved to fighting in MMA, did you continue to take Muay Thai fights as well, or did you move all the way out of Muay Thai into MMA?
Yeah, no, I did for the first 12 months. I had 2 MMA fights, and lucky me, as a white belt, I drew 2 purple belts. So both of my first 2 MMA fights ended up in me getting submitted. I think from that point, I realised I had to put some like really more time into the groundwork and focus on one thing, because I think what I was doing was when I have a Muay Thai fight coming up, I drop the wrestling and clinch.
Yeah.
So I think every time you just drop the ball a little bit, you know, it's like going back to the start a bit. So then I realised I had to just focus on the MMA.
So then once you'd made that kind of foray into MMA, was there any more Thai boxing following that, or you kind of just stayed there?
Yeah, no, I think in that 12 months, I still had two Muay Thai fights and I had 2 MMA fights, and then I think for the next like 5 years, I just fought MMA only. Yeah.
And then from there, what was the transition like to you becoming a trainer yourself?
Oh man, the training, I sort of always helped out wherever I trained. Even at the karate schools, I'd end up, you know, helping somewhere. I used to go teach karate at one of the schools for sport way back, and even at Iron Fist, I used to help with, you know, a couple of the just general beginner classes, and especially at that gym, Iron Fist, like, because it began with a small group of us, so you'd help, you know, be in the corner helping out. There wasn't any pecking order to get your spot in the corner, you know. It was just, you know, you just got the bucket and there was only 3 of you, so I was already, like, learn all the little aspects of the role, but with the Thai boxing, like 2 Thai boxing classes for them, so that's where I sort of started to get the first batch of guys that just wanted to do Muay Thai. Oh, we're frozen.
Yeah, frozen a little bit, but that's okay. Are you okay now?
Oh, we're back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's all right. Yeah, you know, Australian internet, mate. What are you going to do?
NPM. High speed.
So, all you American listeners out here, you don't know how lucky you have it. Well, not now, of course, but internet-wise, yeah.
But so when you started out, like you said, you kind of just started to get that experience. You know, you just start cornering to help out with your teammates and stuff like that. How did that sort of help shape your style in the corner? Like, were you really different starting out cornering people than you handle it now, or you feel like it kind of came naturally? Was it something you had to learn to do a lot, or you think it sort of just came by doing, sort of?
Yeah, I think I learned a lot from the bells, the way they were in the corner. It's like, you know, one thing that really, I suppose it annoys me, but I tell my guys when I see it at a fight show still, like, there's 3 guys in the corner all fucking yelling out different stuff to their fighter. Knee, fucking elbow. And it's like, you're icing his legs. Shut the fuck up and do your role. You know, and because how's the guy going to hear the coach? You know, in the whole fury of everything with the crowd screaming.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like everyone's just got to have that role, which I believe in as well. From there, but but that's what you can notice with like basically pretty successful gyms, like they train people, but but also when it comes to fight time in the corner, everyone has their own jobs, and it's a pretty calm, like other than like spurring your fighter on, it's just not every man for himself, kind of trying to coach them.
Yeah, everybody like they've got good intentions, but I remember like it didn't take much if I was like out of place when I was doing the corner with Iron Fist, and the old fella would just give me a look like shut up, and learn that, and then now we try and pass it on to our guys too and say, don't all be calling out, how are they going to hear you when the bloke's mates are already yelling out, knock his fucking head off and all the stuff going on, So, I think basically with the question, it's like, learn the ropes. And I think naturally, like maybe as a coach, if you've fought, it helps a lot because you know what the guy can be going through,
Definitely. Like all the stuff before the ring, like, how everyone feels a little bit differently. Like, there's a general feeling, but everyone deals with it differently, and just kind of knowing how to, like, some people like to be prepped up, some people don't like to be talked to before they go out, and that's just, I guess that's just having a coaching eye, but also having fought before, kind of knowing what it is and knowing, like, sometimes give them some space, and sometimes they just need a little bit of prepping.
Yeah. and then the half-cut mates coming in before the fight trying to G them up and all the rest of it that have never fought.
That's it. I think some of the worst ones are like, I do the general rule is like no girlfriends and wives in before the fight. They're some of the worst ones.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's like, you sure you want to do this? It's like, I saw this fight before you. The guy got really fucked up. It's like, get him out of here. Yeah, it's funny times. So, like, talking about coaching now, really, like, when did you decide to, like, start up Nova? And, like, how did you, like, what, is there a significance in the name Nova Martial Arts to you?
Yeah, so, but basically, because we're in Newcastle, they'll call people that live in Newcastle Novacastrians. Okay, and then like the second meaning, like because we have the star in our logo, is like solitary star. So, but it's just more about where we come from. People from Newcastle are Novacastrians, so we thought, we'll steal that.
Nice.
And starting up the gym, in your mind, because most of your fighters that I'm familiar with have been in Muaythai. Was the plan starting out the gym? Did you want to have a real MMA gym? Were you more interested in training Thai boxers, or were you just kind of sort of taking it as it came?
Yeah, I think I've always just wanted to do both. I've never been lost like from the path of Muay Thai. I've just like always loved it, and so even when I was doing MMA, I'm not like fuck that. We're doing MMA. It's always been when we were training at Jamie Ballard's, I'd had maybe 4 or 5 like solid guys that none of them had fought. And the first, it's funny because the first fights they ever had were like a sparring day at PTJ. Yeah. It would have been PTJ's first sparring day because they were only just fairly new as well. So I moved. I was moving. I was going through a change of life because I'd divorced, and we just decided like I'd like to try and do this for myself now, like have my own gym. So I was still fighting MMA, and I had a couple of boys that all the guys were coming from a jiu-jitsu gym, so they'd all done jiu-jitsu, but they were taking to the stand-up. They were enjoying that. So when we first moved out on our own, and I had 6 guys, and they all just wanted to do Thai boxing, and that's where the strength was in the gym.
Yeah, it's nice. Like, I think one of the first times I've ever seen any of your guys fight before was at a time the Sydney show. And who was it? Might have been Matt Sullivan. Yeah, I can't remember before, but I was saying, damn, he looks slick. And then I remember going to another.
I know who before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll come to me.
I'll come to
know
you.
the fight. Yeah.
That one was, I remember it was a good fight.
David Petrolito.
Oh yeah, David Petrolito. Yeah, that was a good fight.
Yeah.
And also another side of the Sydney, I remember watching Nathan Jones.
Big fan of Nathan Jones.
Yeah, he looked really slick. And he still does, like, MTA state champ from there, which he won on our show. Yeah. I remember seeing him sign the Sydney. I just had my first, fight in the show, and I go, I need that guy on my show. I need him. From that one. But, when you kind of, so on the Muay Thai side of things, when you, teach your boys, or train them, coach them, does your gym have, a certain, style it usually gravitates towards, or you kind of take it person to person, what suits them?
Yeah, I think what we try to do, because everybody interprets it differently, the leg kick, and you can't get guys to have the same leg kick. Yeah. They all do it a little bit differently, but as long as the principle's the same. But as far as styles go, I try and say it like this to them. It's like, you can fight long and the fight can go good, then you're going to keep going. But what if that's not working? Then let's play a different game. And so then I want them to be really good at clinching, and also on that, with clinching, I think it is good to survive. If you get hit hard and you don't know where you are, you're bloody grabbing hold of that guy, right? Push him into the corner. But yeah, the fight could go in any aspect, be played out 3-4 different ways, and that's what's glorious about Muay Thai, is change. But I like all the fighters to be able to do that.
Yeah, it's good. Is it? Well, what's the philosophy when you with your MMA fighters? Was it Naim? If I'm saying his name right, Naim Stevens. Yeah.
Nims.
Yeah, Nims. Yeah, sorry. No, so yeah, he seemed pretty successful as well. What's the general coaching philosophy then? When with striking, is it? Do you just change it up a little bit, or do you completely change it and focus on are they better grappler or better striker? Blah blah blah, so forth.
Yeah, I mean that can be differences in game plan for opponent, but generally with the MMA, I'm pretty hard on them because I like them to do stuff separate. I'm like, you need to get really good at jiu-jitsu, so you got to do jiu-jitsu consistently, and then I want you to do Muay Thai, because I'm a big believer that like a lot of people say boxing's really good for MMA, and they're not wrong, but the way we do Muay Thai, most people have good hands. The boxing's good, so they do Muay Thai, they do Jiu-Jitsu, and hopefully while they're still trying to get good at Jiu-Jitsu, they can start getting some ring experience with the development days and stuff like that, and stay on that path and see how far they get, because I won't let them into an MMA fight until they can do the groundwork decent, because when I did it, it was still a little bit of there's the jiu-jitsu guys, it was evolving into a sport, but sort of style versus style. This guy does judo. Now you put a guy in an MMA fight and there's amateur MMA, and you're getting guys that are brown belts good on the ground before you let them in there.
I guess that's the thing with MMA from there, especially like it's like you don't know who's going to come against. You might be a great striker, but yeah, it must come against like a brown belt or black belt. That one, but like it's like you said, just getting that experience beforehand is so crucial. Like before you can do an MMA fight, yeah, like do some development days. Do heaps of jiu-jitsu comps.
Yeah.
As well, it's like it's like you gotta. It's like, and you would know that, Rod. Like MMA is too hard to learn it all.
Yeah.
You can get competent levels in a lot of it, and that you should. But like, there's always going to be probably one area to go. Like, you know what? I'm going to try and get my striking good enough that I can survive enough to get into the clinch, go for the takedown, take it to the ground, so forth and so forth. So there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I've found that doing it that way too is like keeping it separate at the start. Before you invite them into an MMA class or session, is that it eliminates a bit of the dickhead factor. Like if you just we're running MMA classes and you're getting a percentage, not all, but a percentage of those guys coming in, and we've all heard it. Like, I want to fight. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to fuck somebody up. Whatever, And it's that mentality that, again, I heard in another podcast where you try and clear that out. You try and eliminate that from the gym to keep the good culture.
Yeah, that's definitely right. Like, if you just go, I'm just going to run an MMA class, open to anyone, just general public from there. Majority of the time, it's going to be dickheads coming. But if they already know a bit of stuff, if it's like, yes, hey man, you got to get your blue belt before you even think about doing this class. Like that, then at least you know they're legit, and they're there properly to learn. Also, yeah, it's great.
They're getting respect, that respect factor, and the same with Muay Thai. It's hard work, so they're getting that respect factor, and before they get the MMA gloves on and hop in a cage, because that's the stigma. Everybody to be a cage fighter, but it's been said before. The UFC's done great things to grow that sport, but people just get caught up in what's not reality. Kieran was saying about you watch UFC Countdown and you're seeing guys going mad doing conditioning, and people think that's it. You do the conditioning and then you get in and scrap. Yeah. Jeez.
I don't know exactly. Ow. It's all it's all cameras and lights, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess I think the thing with MMA, it's so powerfully marketed. The reason for that is they're so good at selling you a story, and sometimes the story that they sell you is not actually what makes you a fighter. I think that's what they're the guys that you get in the street. They've really been sold that story of swinging battle ropes and throwing balls around, and then just yes, ready, let's get in the cage.
Yeah. All right. So going from that, going a little bit on your competing again, also. So not even too long ago. So you've been sending yourself and your team to the WMO Muay Thai games.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that, because honestly, for myself, I don't know much about the WMO games.
Yeah, I'm keen to hear about this actually.
Yeah. So the WMO games for our gym has been excellent, an excellent experience. It's helped us all grow to add a bit of the culture of Muay Thai, into our own knowledge sort of thing. As far as the competition side of it goes, it's chaos, people expect a certain thing, and it's crazy once you get over there. But they have a good thing, and they have they call it Muay Baran, but it's like IFMA, padded headgear, elbow pads, the shield. But the level of fighters in that can be anywhere from very good to not ready. And then they have a Pro-Am division which is open to professionals and amateurs, that's the tournament, or they're both running the tournament style. So you'll fight one day, you'll get a draw, you'll fight. If you win, you fight the next day, you fight the next day until you get to the final. The Pro-Am, they wear the sock shin pads and no headgear, just sock shin pads, which, when you're fighting days in a row makes sense for the damage, because as we know, we've still seen legs broken with sock shin pads on, right? And we did over there a few times, but and then they have a professional only division where they try and run it as a 4-man, but they'll usually, like in my weight division, often like you're looking for a match, so they might get 4 guys your weight and you'll just have a fight. And that could be anybody. So it could be somebody that's living over there and training. It could be somebody in a team like yourself. But the level's just so much like you don't know. One of my boys fought a guy in the Muay Thai, my boy Joel. And the guy he fought won the whole Muay Thai and then went in the Pro-Am, won that. And he's a little... I think he's a Filipino. He's Malaysian, and he's signed to 1FC now. Oh, and he's red hot in 1FC. Yeah. And that's the difference. And then you might get like a guy from India that's like a deer in the headlights. It's so varied, but you know what? Like things like that, I find it exciting because you're going somewhere. You don't know who you're fighting. You don't even know who's going to be there. And it's like, Australia versus France. Like, righto. And you still, won't see the guy until you've got to weigh in. So that's if he turns up at the weigh-in at the same time as you. You might not see him until you get in the ring.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, because I hadn't heard, probably one of my, it seems like the last year or two, there's been quite a busy Australian team going over for the WMOs, but prior to that, I hadn't heard much about it, and sort of the first introduction I had to it was I would see like things about Nathan going over there. When your guys go over for the games, what's the plan as far as, do they fly right over just to compete, or will they go into Thailand a bit earlier and do a bit of a training camp beforehand? Do you do it like a set way, or does everyone kind of do it differently?
Yeah, so the reason, like the last trip was quite big because it's the first year the Queenslanders got on board, and they took like 30 kids, 30 juniors, and had a lot of adults to add to the team. Before that, the couple of years was Ravinder Sidhu from South Australia, who's the Australian rep, and he like contacted me and said, there's no qualifying, so he contacted me and said, have you got any guys? The first year was a learning curve for us. Deers in the headlights, didn't know what was going on, and the expectations, like thinking it was going to be organised, was wrong. But when we go now, because we've been the first year, and then the second year we're a bit more relaxed, and we're like, all right, so you don't know when you're fighting, you don't know when you're weighing in, relax, Nathan went over early the last time we went, and had a couple of fights. He had one fight on the riverfront where you fought. Yeah. And met us there, but we usually just go over as a team. We try and find somewhere to train, but in between that, we also just train ourselves either at the hotel. We trained in the park, but due to not knowing who's fighting or somebody's fighting, so that day we can't go and train because we won't be back on time and stuff like that. So, and we'll stick together, like our little group, especially from this gym, we'll always mostly be together. Yeah, so that's what we do.
Okay. So like with those games in particular, is it just like just a sign up one? Is that is it invite? Like how do people get into it?
Yeah. So the first 3 years we just got invited by Rav to participate, and then the last year, because there was such a big amount of people, then there was talk about like qualifying to try and because you're wanting people. They didn't want two Aussies in the same weight class or division. So then they're talking about making a qualifier, and I believe they were supposed to go this year in March, and there was a bit of that going on the junior shows up in Queensland to see who could have the spot, because the junior spots were getting pretty sought after. And then even our guys that have been a couple of times, they're like, oh, you know what, like that spot's taken, so but you can go up a weight division. So yeah, it's a bit, to be honest, higgledy-piggledy.
Yeah. Part of the experience.
Ah, yeah, cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a great opportunity for us. We were lucky, and I think we needed that for the gym. And we were lucky. We got the spots. We didn't have to qualify or anything. But yeah, I would definitely say the organisation's not there like we're seeing with the IFMA.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they've had it going a bit longer, and they've honed in, and especially in Australia, like the qualifiers, they've got that stuff together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been running pretty smoothly. Not too bad.
Yeah, they've got a good thing happening.
All right. How do you find for yourself? Because like you compete yourself in the games, don't you? So like how do you go like coaching and then competing and swapping back and forth?
Yeah. I've found it really hard to stop fighting.
Fair enough.
I do. I'm competitive, and I'm like I've always trained with all my fighters. Like, and I was a late starter. I didn't have my first fight until I was like 29.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
So, I went through all of that Thai boxing period first up, and through the MMA. I think the first year we went to Thailand, I was 41. So 41, 42, 43, 44, still fighting. And I think just the thing when you get older, you're going to have to train a damn lot harder because you're fighting the young guys, right? You're not just getting some other guy your same age to fight. There's no veterans division. But yeah, I found it really hard to stop, and sort of forced. The last fight I had over there, I've been carrying like an Achilles problem for like 4 years odd, and guess what? It let go in the ring during the fight, so I snapped my Achilles.
Shit.
Like, man, it would have been 40 seconds into the fight. Yeah,
What's the recovery time on something like that? How long did that put you out for?
I was in a boot for 6 months.
Wow.
After that, I was in a cardboard boot that we made when we were in Thailand. So, because it was funny, they have a Y Crew, a ceremonial day up, and UTR buses all the teams. This is a really cool part about it. What I was saying about the culture and learning about the culture. All the teams go on these buses up to UTR, to the old capital, and they have a Y Crew day, big ceremonial day, and you've got all those competitors plus their coaches, and get your Mongkong blessed, and they have a big ceremony, and it's pretty amazing. Then they have this massive like show to show the history of Muay Thai. So they do like a pantomime with laser lights and elephants and fucking everything. It's mad. Really, really cool. But yeah, I had to still go to that before we could go home. made this fucking cardboard boot. I had a nice little pair of fucking wooden crutches from the 1960s that suited a tie. And, it was fucking hell, I tell you. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's one of those ones from there. It's like, I don't know if you travel with insurance or anything like that, but I guess if you don't have insurance, like you go, well, I'm not going to the hospital. I'll just wait till I get back home.
Yeah. Well, and that was part of it. Like we had you have the travel insurance and all of that, but it's like, fuck, we're going, like that was that night I fought, then we had to go to the ceremony day, then we're flying out the day after that, so I was a bit like, man, I don't want to fucking get stuck in hospital and, let's just strap it up and get home and we'll deal with it.
Have you tried any jiu-jitsu tournaments?
Yeah. When I first started jiu-jitsu, I used to go in most of them for about 2 years. Did well in a couple, mixed results, but I was fighting a lot after that, so I'd be like, oh no, I'm not going to go in that comp because it's 2 weeks before my fight, and so stop competing in that then.
Yeah, it's no guarantee of not getting injured. You just won't get punched in the head.
Yeah, you're not going to get that, but you might get your knee buckled or your arm snapped. So
yeah, that's it.
Then no fight.
What belt level are you in jiu-jitsu? We actually didn't cover that.
Yeah, purple belt, and I've been doing it for well over maybe 12 years. So what I guess stagnates me a bit is when we first opened our own gym, we just did no gi, and it was purely for the MMA factor. We dropped the gi.
No gi's fun,
and
you don't have to deny it.
Yeah.
No,
and I was running the classes, and I wasn't running the own gym. I wasn't getting time to go anywhere else and keep on the path. Like for instance, my youngest son, not my youngest son, but one of my many children, second oldest, he started jiu-jitsu at the same time as me, and he's been a black belt for at least 2 years now, I think, Jacob. Yeah.
Nice.
He's a little veteran too.
That is, damn.
I haven't rolled him for probably a couple of years, and I'm a bit worried about it.
Yeah, just fake an injury.
Yeah,
that's what I do with the bigger guys.
Yeah.
Just stay away from that. When my kids are old enough to get to that stage where they're going to kick my ass and go, well, we don't need the chain anymore. That's right.
I'm old school, mate. I'll just pull out the fucking wooden spoon and
they got PTSD from it. They go, no, not the spoon. But speaking of like your family as well, does any of your children fight? Because they're older, they're adults. Have they ever fought before?
No. So I've got two adult grown-ups. They both did jiu-jitsu, got their blue belts, but Jacob continued on. He actually had a kickboxing fight when he was 17. He won that. And this is another good little story. But he's had one MMA fight. We went up to Emerald and we both fought on the same show.
Nice.
And yeah, that was an experience. It was a big night. But yeah, he won his fight, which was good for me to see. But you know what? As a dad, you're like, take him down. Just take him down.
Yeah.
I don't want to see my son just get belted around in MMA gloves. I'm like, just take him down, choke him out. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
Good boy.
Yeah, I guess it could be hard as well. If you're both fighting, if you see him fight beforehand, and you got your own fight to have from there, so it could go either way, couldn't it? Mentally.
Yeah, yeah, and definitely. And I had another fighter also on that night, and he sort of had a bad loss, and then I had to go get ready and go out and fight in the semi-main event. So definitely. A good experience in how to deal with your nerves, I tell you.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's like just didn't have time to sit around and think about it. Just like go.
Yeah. You don't know what those emotions, until the night comes. You think it's all, it'll be right. And all the different emotions of that when the night comes is a lot different to what you thought.
Mm-hmm, definitely. All right, so going into a little bit more of like for your personal preferences from there. Who do you like watching? Who's like in Muay Thai? Like who's some of your favorite fighters that you like to watch or emulate?
Man, I'm old school like that too. I will still watch like old fights with Sakmon Cole and guys like that. Those, they're brilliant to watch. But to be honest, I love Sanchai. I just love watching that guy. I think he's just incredible. He's a master.
Yeah.
I just love watching him. I like now he can just do whatever he wants now. Like he mightn't be like fighting all the up and coming red hot Thais, but he can fight any other Westerner any time in the world, and that guy will be a national champion and a world champion in his own right, and he can still just do what he wants and pull off what he wants. It's fucking crazy. Yeah.
He's definitely earned his stripes to like do what he's doing now. It's like you can around, be a listener up. That's fine by me. I love watching Sanchai kick the shit out of someone in style.
Yeah.
Sanchai's kind of at that point where he's like on tour now. Like it's not like everyone kind of understands that he's not fighting like the creme de la creme, but you just bring him to a country, a city somewhere, fill a stadium up. Like they're not there to watch a fight; they're there to watch Sanchai do something cool, like do a cartwheel kick, and he's still just doing ridiculous shit in all of his fights.
Yeah, and believe the guys he's fighting. I mean, how good is it going to be if you take that scalp? So they're going out to try and do their thing too.
Oh yeah, definitely want to get that win on Sanchai.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like someone's got to knock him over eventually, right? Like everyone wants to be that guy. That's how it always goes.
Everyone's time comes.
Yeah.
Same question again, but MMA. Is there anyone that you like watching MMA recently, or like whatever time frame?
Yeah, I'm a big Randy Couture fan. Like back in the day, I love that guy and his demeanour. But modern day wise, like I appreciate everyone's skills, like McGregor and Diaz and that, but they're not my cup of tea. As in personality, and I like the guys that just get down to business. Really.
Well, it seems like especially nowadays MMA, it's like we were talking about before. It's part like fighting, but like it's big part show now as well. You gotta sell it, and usually it seems like everyone's taking a WWE approach to kind of selling their fights.
Yeah. It's a funny thing, like the whole thing with like Anthony Mundine, and like anybody in fighting knows that like, man, that guy was good.
Yeah,
he was good. He was
ridiculous, like slick, great skills, awesome boxer. And then there's the other promotional side, and then anybody that you meet that actually like knows him is that. There's probably this can be said for like McGregor. There's a big show going on all the time. I don't know how they can keep it up, to be honest.
Definitely not.
Money, I guess.
No.
Yeah, money talks.
It's a pretty big motivator when you get a paycheck.
Yeah.
Any other question, guys?
I did want to ask because we were touching on it. Speaking of Sanchai. Talking about kind of the trips over to Thailand for the games, I think you know my friends at PK Sanchai.
Man.
Yeah. What was it like going over and doing some training there?
And that's the best experience I've had at PK Sanchai. I just loved it, mate. And the boys like smashed us, Yeah. Pretty funny because I've been up and run about 7 Ks on the treadmill because I hadn't fought yet, and I was, trying to keep my weight off, so I was still running. and then we get there for a PT, just a private session, and the trainers turn up, and they're like, "Oh, okay, you go run," and pointed us over to the treadmills. I'm like, "Yeah, righto." me and Steve and Nathan, we're looking at each other like 15 minutes passes, 20 minutes passes. We're still running. We're thinking, fuck, we're going to die. But, yeah, that was cool. They made us run for half an hour, and then they're like, righto, come on. Wrapped our hands and probably, we smashed us, just did about, how like each pad round just gets longer.
Yeah.
And I remember with me, because I was in good shape, and I'm feeling it too. I'm thinking, I'm feeling so good, and so what happens is you miss your break, and it's like, no, you're not stopping while these two have a break. They pushed me through like 2 rounds straight. I'm like, oh man, but it was so good. Like we walked out of there just euphoric after that. We were like, fuck, that was so awesome. And we trained at some other good gyms, but yeah, I think sometimes one gym just hits the spot,
Definitely seems so. Anyone have questions, Simon? We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
Cool. Excellent. So, yeah, Rod, hey, thank you for coming on here and talking to us and sharing your experiences.
Worries.
It was good. It was a fun time.
Man, thanks so much for having me on. It's been great.
That's all good, mate. So for listeners from here, how can they catch you or your gym on social media, like Instagram, Facebook wise?
Yeah. Get onto Instagram, Nova Martial Arts. Same on Facebook, Nova Martial Arts, and yeah, check us out. We're very welcoming down here, and yeah, we sort the riffraff out, so don't worry about being intimidated. It's a good tribe we've got down here. The fighters are all cool, man. Like they have that culture here where everybody trains together. We don't separate the fighters. We just give them harder stuff to do, and then they just keep going when everybody else goes home. But everyone trains together. I think that's what makes people feel welcome.
Yeah, for sure.
They're not below everybody. It's like just everybody's in training together, and it's good feels.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's got that nice kind of community feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only met really good dudes from Nova. Like all your fighters always have been really cool every time I met any of them.
Yeah. We have a bit of that going on. Like I never like the guys like you're going to be happy if you win a fight. And that's all good, but like as a coach, like I'm happy too, but like I'm not like mad, like jumping around the place. Like I try and reserve. I feel for the other fighter too, I know what it's like, so I don't like to rub it into the other fighter too much. We talk later, like with the boys, even in the change room. I don't like the boys going out to the change room being like, "Fuck yeah." Fucking, I'm like, oi, just, calm down. When we get in the car, that's fine. It's like, fucking hell, that was fucking, unreal. But, just try and be respectful to our opponents and, fair play.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just the day, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's good thing to live by. Yeah. All right, so that'll do us tonight from that. So remember, guys, from here, if you're listening to us, this will be on YouTube as well. So subscribe to our YouTube channel and to the Double Dragon podcast. You can also find us, if you're watching on YouTube, you can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, all podcast platforms. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram at Enter the Double Dragon. All right. Thanks for listening to us. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.
This.
Thanks, boys.